This is your WLAK Daily News Roundup for Lake Air, 107.5 FM and 1260 AM in Amory.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Ballot drop boxes could be legal again in Wisconsin. The state Supreme Court is agreeing to take up a case seeking to overturn Wisconsin's ban on drop boxes. Oral arguments are set for May 13th. The court banned drop boxes almost 2 years ago when it was under conservative control. At the time, justices said state law doesn't allow for off-site drop boxes, but liberals maintain there's nothing in state law that expressly prohibits them either. President Biden is back in Wisconsin today.
In Milwaukee, the president will share how this administration investments are rebuilding our communities and creating good-paying jobs.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says Biden is talking about lowering costs for families and strengthening Social Security and Medicare. The Wisconsin State Senate is firing 8 more of Governor Evers' appointees. Among them are John Miller and Dana Wachs, who voted against diversity cuts when they were on the University of Wisconsin Board of Regents. The Senate has fired 21 Evers appointees since 2019. Wisconsin has a healthcare worker shortage. The Wisconsin Hospital Association annual report says the state's nursing vacancy is 10%.
Registered nurses make up over half of the hospital and health system workforce. So that's very impactful because nurses can fill other gaps on the healthcare team.
The association's Ann Zank says Wisconsin's healthcare workforce is shrinking. At the same time, the state's older population is growing.
People have to wait longer for a primary care appointment or a specialty appointment. Sometimes they end up needing to come to an urgent care department or an emergency department to get that access.
Zank says Wisconsin hospitals need aggressive recruiting and more flexible training programs. Wisconsin state education officials are thinking of letting local school districts choose when they start the school year. Under the current rules, schools can't start earlier than September 1st in Wisconsin, but more and more local schools each year are asking the Department of Public Instruction to start earlier. There's an online public hearing on the proposed rule change on the 25th. Reports say former Packers star quarterback Aaron Rodgers might run for vice president. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is running for president as an independent. The New York Times reports Kennedy's shortlist for running mate includes Rodgers and former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly. An event for high school students interested in trade careers is being held at the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center on Wednesday. The Construct Tomorrow event gives students a chance to get hands-on experience while working on important projects around the area, like the Blatnick Bridge reconstruction and housing expansion. Duluth workforce officials say one of the major challenges facing the construction industry is the aging workforce. The event kicks off at 9 a.m. with more information online. A Barron County dog rescue says they've been forced to stop taking animals in for the next couple months. According to a WEAU report, the Little Red Barn Dog Rescue says there have been a particularly high number of surrenders over the last year and a rise in the number of unclaimed stray dogs, which is putting a lot of strain on the rescue. The organization has 28 dogs in their care right now and says their plan is to focus on getting those dogs into forever homes as they deal with financial challenges and burnout. The sale of multiple homes in Duluth's Park Point neighborhood to a billionaire has drawn the attention of residents and local officials. According to a Northern News Now report, Duluth Mayor Roger Reinhardt sent a letter to Kathy Cargill asking what the plans for the land along Minnesota and Lake Avenues is. While Reinhardt noted that Cargill is well within her right to buy the land, the letter noted that a lack of housing is a major problem facing the area and losing more residential housing options is not helpful to the city. Chester Bowl has received a significant donation that will help the organization expand and renovate the Tom Storm Chalet. According to a Northern News Now report, Chester Bowl officials announced an anonymous donation of $50,000, matching their donation to the chalet renovation project. In total, public sources have donated around $740,000 to the renovation project. The total cost is expected to be around $2.7 million, with officials looking for outside funding for the rest. Pizza isn't the only thing Domino's is delivering in Duluth. According to a Northern News Now report, Domino's Plowing for Pizza campaign has selected Duluth to receive a $25,000 snow plowing grant after a nomination campaign on the program's website. City officials say they plan to use the grant funding on a tablet-based system to give plow operators better access to route instructions. Domino's will award a total of $500,000 of Plowing for Pizza grant funding across 20 different cities. Duluth residents gathered at Monday's city council meeting to ask councilors to pass a resolution demanding a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. The ceasefire advocates say they want Duluth to be on the right side of history and join a growing number of other city councils across the country calling for a ceasefire. Members of the Duluth City Council said the resolution will be brought to the table soon, but some say that while they do want a ceasefire, the city council should focus on Duluth issues before looking elsewhere. The Superior National Forest is looking for some federal funding to minimize the impact of wildfires. The United States Department of Agriculture has made an additional $100 million available for states to expand their wildfire risk reduction program. Amid a warm, snowless winter that has experts worried about an early wildfire season, the Superior National Forest applied for $20 million of funding. A USDA survey of the forest found almost 200,000 acres are at a high risk for wildfires. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources is warning of an elevated fire danger this week due to the warm temperatures, lack of rain, and low humidity. According to a press release, officials across the state responded to over 90 wildfires in the last week. Most of northwest Wisconsin is currently listed at a very high fire danger, with most counties south of Rusk sitting at high fire danger. Bayfield, Burnett, Washburn, Sawyer, Rusk, and parts of Barron County all have burn restrictions in place through the DNR as well. And that's what you need to know. For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly.
Bucks get clobbered by the Kings. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucks fell behind early and lost by 35 points in Sacramento. The final 129-94. It's the first time the Kings have beat Milwaukee in over 8 years. Doc Rivers says his team didn't look ready.
My fault. I didn't get them prepared the way they should mentally. Guys talking about planes and leaving. As a staff, we talked about it after shoot-around. I was like, if our focus is not better than this morning, it's going to be a long day.
The Bucks fell to 1-3 on their West Coast road trip. Damian Lillard.
End of a road trip against a team, once again, coming off a game they feel like they probably should have won. They were just the sharper team. They were the faster team.
Giannis, after the loss.
You know that there's going to be a track meet. You know they're going to play fast. You know they're going to shoot the ball with 17 seconds on the clock. If you're not locked in, not able to match the same energy as them, you're going to have problems.
College basketball, the UWM Panthers losing to the Oakland Grizzlies 83-76 in the Horizon League Championship played in Detroit. Oakland advances to the NCAA tournament. The Milwaukee Brewers face the Cubs at Sloan Park in Mesa, Arizona. Colin Ray pitched 4 scoreless innings. William Contreras with an RBI and a 3-run homer. But the Cubs came back with a walk-off home run from Patrick Wisdom to win 6-5 over the Crew. NFL, the Packers re-signed defensive back Keyshawn Nixon to a new 3-year deal worth $18 million, but lose safety Jonathan Owens, who signed a 2-year contract with the Chicago Bears. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On the Showbiz Beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. I will never win an argument in my house again. Those are the words of Molly McNierney, who co-exec produced the Oscars broadcast Sunday night. She's also married to host Jimmy Kimmel. People magazine reports that McNierney advised her husband not to read a certain former president's catty tweet out loud at the Oscars because it was too risky. But comedians will be comedians. Kimmel read the tweet and responded with a joke that brought the house down. How does McNierney feel about that? She told People.com she will probably never win an argument in her house ever again. Well, not with that attitude. Speaking of the Kimmel family, Joy Behar apparently loved Jimmy Kimmel's response to Donald Trump's Oscar tweet, so much so that she had to tell him. The View host said she is friends with Kimmel, and when she heard his joke, she thought to herself, comedians rule. Behar says she wanted to let Jimmy know how she felt, so she decided to email him, but unfortunately emailed the wrong Jimmy, emailing Kimmel's late-night adversary, Jimmy Fallon, instead. Despite not becoming the first Native American to win a Best Actress Oscar, Killers of the Flower Moon actress Lily Gladstone seems to be doing just fine. This year's Best Actress award went to Emma Stone for her performance in Poor Things. According to Deadline, the race for the award this year was too close to call. Stone won the prize at the Golden Globes, but Gladstone won the Screen Actors Guild Best Actress Award, which is usually an Oscar indicator. Gladstone says she wasn't too upset she didn't win and said she was feeling the love big time. Speaking of Emma Stone, the New York Post reports that the Best Actress winner did not seem too pleased with the joke Jimmy Kimmel made during his monologue at the opening of the show. Kimmel made a joke after a clip of Poor Things, saying those were the only parts of the film they could show in reference to the amount of nudity and sex in the film. It is still unclear what Stone said moments later to her husband, but she did not look happy. Couple things. First, it was a joke. And second, did she see poor things? People seem to love martial arts, especially when it's paired with animated pandas. Kung Fu Panda won the box office this past weekend with almost $60 million. The DreamWorks family film exceeded expectations, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Speaking of the box office, after Oppenheimer's Best Picture win at the Oscars Sunday night, it became the highest-grossing film to win the award since 2004's The Lord of the Rings. Oppenheimer has brought in $960 million worldwide. The bad news is your Roku account might have been breached. The good news is it won't affect your TV watching. The Hollywood Reporter says Roku has 80 million plus accounts, of which over 15,000 were compromised. Roku says the breach was not due to actual hackers, but by people who got login info from others. That's right, folks. Family members can go to jail for using your login info if you give it to them. So only give it to the ones who bother you the most. Then make a citizen's arrest. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, every night between 7 and 9 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Sunshine this morning, becoming mostly cloudy by later this afternoon, and it's still going to be mild with a high of 64 today. The wind will be northeast at 5 to 15. Tonight, cloudy with some showers after midnight. Tomorrow, cloudy with light rain, a high of 49. Could get a tenth of an inch, maybe two, by the time it all winds down tomorrow night. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 36.
That's your WLAK Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at lakeair.radio.